Peace, love, and appreciation, everyone. You are now tuned into Hijynx, and I am your host, LJM, and we are coming to you live from the radical side of Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. Yes, today is Ujima, which is the third day of Kwanzaa. The principles celebrated of Ujima, or collective work and responsibility. It means to build and maintain our community together and to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them today. So the spirit of Ujima is shown on Hijynx today because we are about to connect the dots. As you know, Hijynx is your global campfire, connecting stories from around the world and from around the block. So today we will be discussing Palestine, Libya, South Africa, and the U.S., as well as showing what all of these countries have in common and how global capitalism connects the dots to each one of these countries and affects all of us. But first, we're going to discuss the year, my fifth anniversary here in D.C., pressure of being 29, as well as some frustration that I've personally been feeling. But before you tuned in, we were playing a few tracks. I don't know, you most likely would have recognized these artists. If you didn't, then I don't know what rock that you have currently been living under. But the first one that we played was OJ by Jay-Z. Then we played a song by Diddy, as well as we just played Love of Us by Kendrick Lamar. Now you may be asking, why an interest in these three particular artists? Well, if you don't know, this is also Hijynx's last show of 2018, everyone. First off, let me just retract real quick. I'm going to give a very big shout out and thank you to all of my listeners and everyone, because you have been rocking with me, supporting me, giving me love and encouragement since February. We are 10 months in. We're about to be going 11 months, and soon we will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary next year on February 2nd. But this is 2018. It's truly been a growth year for Hijynx, and I just want to thank everyone. So, back to the fact that why we're playing Jay-Z, Diddy, and Kendrick Lamar. What do these three artists have in common? Well, these are the world's highest paid rappers of 2018. That's right. Jay-Z coming in at $76.5 million. Diddy, which I was completely and utterly surprised by, because what's the last song that Diddy has released? I don't even know. Can you know? Because when I tried to YouTube him just now, it popped up with things from 2006 or maybe 2011. Diddy came in at $64 million. And then the full-time rapper, the only full-time rapper that came in around the top three, not considered Jay-Z and Diddy because they're not full-time rappers, we have Kendrick Lamar, who came in at $58 million. Following Kendrick, you have Drake, J. Cole, Dr. Dre, Nas. Pitbull is definitely on there, which is a bit confusing because he came out when the Dirty South, all those rappers were popping, and now I wouldn't necessarily consider him a rapper. You have Future coming in at number 9, Kanye West, DJ Khaled. Is DJ Khaled considered a rapper now? I mean, his name starts with DJ. Anyway, then you have the Migos, you have Eminem, Chance the Rapper, and Travis Scott. Well, I would disagree with some of the people who made this list of the world's highest paid rappers, but the results are in. Kendrick Lamar coming in third, Diddy coming in second, and Jay-Z coming in first. Yes, so we are closing out the year strong, I can see. So let's discuss that, because this is the last Friday of 2018. I don't know about you, but I personally was not ready for this. One, the year went by so quick. I remember last year, I was talking to my friends, and I was in November, and I was like, hey guys, it's already March. It's about to be March. Well, now it's literally that time again. It's 2018. It's coming up to be New Year's. It's the 28th of December. And I remember around this time, what was I doing? I wasn't doing Hijynx. So to be honest, I actually have no idea. I was probably building high class somewhere. But this year has gone by extremely fast. I would compare this year to trying to grip sand tightly. That's how time was slipping through my fingers this year. To be honest, I felt a lot of pressure this year. And, I comfort myself by saying without pressure, the diamond would never form. But I turned 29 this year. This is my last year in my 20s. And that brings about a lot of reflection, right? And I say it brings about a lot of reflection because I'm partially thinking like, okay, smooth. Am I focused? Am I on time? Am I doing what a 29-year-old should be doing, right? But then the thought is like, well, what should a 29-year-old be doing? And somewhere in my brain, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I should have hit this maturity level when it's just like, it's like that epiphany when everything just becomes clear and it falls into place and you understand all the BS that you experienced in your 20s. This is why. These are the lessons. I haven't hit that yet. So I'm really just thinking like, have I acquired the knowledge that I needed to acquire for my lessons? Am I going to close out this decade strong? Have I literally done every type of ratchet thing that I want to do so that I can blame it when I get older and say, oh, I was in my 20s. I didn't know any better. I was in my 20s. This is why I did this. Do I have that capability? Have I really lived my 20s out to the fullest? So that's definitely a question that's been on my mind. It's still on my mind and somewhat of a pressure because I also want to produce 3 books prior to me turning 30. I want high class to be situated. I want to have a stable W-2 income coming through. And speaking of W-2 income, that's actually what leads me to my next Mad Hatter rant. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Every time I'm deciding to go on a rant, I'm going to call it a Mad Hatter rant, right? And I was frustrated yesterday, everyone, and I don't necessarily experience frustration quite often. Frustration to me is very uncomfortable. But as they say, growth lies in uncomfortability. But for me, it sucker punched me and it knocked the air out of me, so to speak. And now you can be asking to all my listeners out there, what sucker punched you? What knocked the air out of you? So I had been applying for this job, right? Now, granted, I thought this was a blessing from the universe, just simply how it came about. Because the reality is, I didn't really apply for this job. The HR person called me in response to this position, was like, hey, I think you would be really great for this position. Do you want to interview? So we went on, we did the phone interview. Then I got moved to the second interview, which I had to do a Google Hangouts call because I was in Mexico. So not only did I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to have an interview because it was 9 o'clock a.m. here, but I also flew back early from Mexico, from my Mexico trip. I cut my Mexico trip short for a week, stopped helping with the migrant caravan, tried to wrap up as much as I could to come home for this interview because in my brain, with my logic, I was saying to myself, okay, I'm going to make this sacrifice because if I make this sacrifice, then I'm showing the universe that I'm serious about this job. I'm showing the universe that I want this job and I'm willing to take the necessary steps and make the necessary sacrifices to obtain what I want in order to continue to push me forward. So I come home, the interview gets rescheduled to the next day. Okay, fine, I get a day of rest. I go to the interview, I sit down at the interview. It's a panel discussion, so it's 4 people. It was the head of HR, and then it was the woman that I would be working under, the team lead. She was there. So I had to, of course, do an activity, explain an activity. So after I did all of this, the woman was like, oh, the hiring lady, my team lead, was like, you're very dynamic, you kept me engaged, and that's really hard to keep me engaged. The head of HR was asking me hella questions, and as he would like to put it, if I hear something good, then I'm going to go and ask you more questions, because I'm really interested in learning about what's going on with you. Okay, fine. So he asked me all these questions, and I was answering, right? Because after Miss Black America and after having to pull questions out of a hat and after that preparation, I am golden when it comes to answering questions. Simply because when I answer questions, I know what I'm doing. Right? Nope. So clearly it wasn't good enough. And then, not to mention, I had two people on the inside of this job, right? That means two people worked for this organization already and had already put in a good word for me because they knew the work that I did in the community. They knew my characteristics. They knew my strength. They knew that I would be a good addition. So the interview concedes. Everyone is like, great jobs. They're smiling. You did such a good job. I'm hearing good things from my inside scoopers who are telling me like, oh, the one girl was so impressed with you. She said you did a really great job. I'm hearing that they're talking to the CEO about me. So, of course, that means that I'm expecting to receive an email that says, congratulations, we have decided to offer you the job. I get an email yesterday around 2:26 p.m. And it said, hey, LJM, thank you so much for coming out and interviewing with our organization. We greatly appreciate it, learning about you and your background. Unfortunately, we have decided not to move forward with your application. And I had to sit there and wait. Like, I had to literally reread that again because I know in my head that this is the email telling me that I got the job. There's no way that I didn't just land this job. Nah, y'all. Man down. I did not get the job. And in that moment, yo, everything just didn't make sense. In that moment, I was feeling magenta because, and magenta means a mix of feelings. I was angry, I was frustrated, I was confused, I was hurt, I was disappointed. I'm looking at the ancestors like, what's going on? Like, what's really happening in this moment? How is this happening? And I had to realize, how am I going to handle myself when I'm frustrated, right? When I'm undergoing that alien gotta hijack. What am I about to do? Am I about to start spewing destruction instead of speaking life? Am I about to be angry and start cursing and doing this and doing that and crying and like exhausting my energy? But no, and this is also, I guess, a great 29 moment because I saw the growth. I just became still. I became so still on the inside. And I had to pray. I had to stop and really pray to the ancestors. And I had to ask Anu and the ancestors for clarity. I had to ask them for strength in that moment because I'm telling you, it's so much going on in my head. It's so much taking place and happening. And I could have easily started cursing. I could have easily started making up excuses or being upset. I could have sent back a snappy email. It was so many avenues that I could have taken. But I told myself no. And I just stopped. I just stopped. I sent back a thank you for the opportunity email. I sent back a thank you for the opportunity email. I said everything is great. I appreciate the opportunity that you gave me. All of that, right? So, but in that moment, I still had to ask the ancestors for strength. In that moment, I had to ask for clarity because the world was murky. It got real dark real quick. I didn't know where I was going. And that happens to me sometimes, y'all. Like, I know people sit there on my IG. Shout out to everyone on my Instagram. I appreciate the views. Shout out to all my listeners. I know you all think I have it together. But the truth is, I don't. I don't have it together. I am stuck in that in-between, unseen place where rent is due and dreams are calling. You understand? I don't know what I'm doing. I am 29 and I have no idea what I'm doing in this moment. I have no idea what is going on. And people say there's strength in that. There's strength in admitting the fact that you don't know. There's strength in admitting when you're confused and you're lost. And even though I could not control me getting that job, that was out of my control. And even though I realized this morning that the reality is I was mad over something I never had. Like, why am I mad? You mad over something that you never had? And what are you fearing right now? You're fearing something that has yet to come to pass. Fear does not exist. Fear is the thought of failure in the future. So why are you thinking like that? Because you have 720 trillion neurons in your body. Granted, I got this from one of my tribe members, Image, who told me this. Shout out to him for dropping pearls of knowledge. But when you say a command in your head, you're telling all of the cells in your body to take that action. So if you tell yourself something negative, like, oh, I'm not going to make $1 million in my lifetime, you're literally telling all the cells in your body what you're not about to do. Versus if you tell your cells, my voice is going to earn me millions and inspire, empower, and be heard by billions, right? I'm telling all my cells this is what we're about to do, so they know the actions to take to manifest my affirmations that I say every morning. So if you say, I am love, I am joy, I am abundance, I am wealth, then you're telling your cells that this is who you are. You're emitting and you're transmitting that type of energy. So you really have to focus on the energy that you give out. And in that moment of my frustration, I realized the only thing that I could control was me. The only thing that I could control was the energy that I transmitted. And was I about to let this news throw off my whole day? Was I about to let this news stop me from prepping from Hijynx? Stopping me from prepping for Speakeasy? No. I had to get still, and I had to pray, and I had to ask for strength. Granted, yes, I did go home, crush half a cheesecake, eat my food, and crush all of my gelato, chocolate gelato ice cream. But everybody has different coping mechanisms, but I still maintained my stillness. I still maintained my peace, and I did not lose myself. So looking back on it in this moment, I am beyond thankful for me, for past me. Like future me is dapping past me up right now because I did that. So what am I saying to all my listeners? I'm telling you, when you get in those moments of frustration, stop, be still, and control the only thing that you can control, which is your energy. And once you get to that, then you will have reached a whole new level that yourself will be proud of. But it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. When I come back, I will be joined by my unofficial co-host, Samaria, my sister from another mister, y'all. It is about to get lit. We are going to be discussing Libya, South Africa, Palestine, as well as the central migrant crisis that is currently taking place. So make sure you stay tuned. We will be right back after this musical break. Hi, everyone. Hold on, I ain't trying to put your business on.
What you want to be said?
Look at that, and we on live.
I know. Right, let me say all this off for you so you can actually sit down, man.
Yeah.
Is this for your event?
It is. That goes outside. That goes outside. Go right
What you
there.
been up to? How was your day?
Girl, it went by so quick.
Yeah.
Like,
What side do you want to sit on? That side? Okay.
I have no idea where the day went. Like, I looked up, I was like, smooth. I'm about to go get my nails done. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that.
Let me sit on clothes.
Ooh, yes, hunting. Thank you. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be fancy. I'm gonna treat myself because I want to feel good.
Right.
Because yesterday was tough because I didn't get the job. Like the job I flew back home from early from Mexico.
Yeah.
I did not get it. And yo, this is my third interview this year, son. Where
Girl,
people
what you
where people are like,
They do the whole phone combo when they get all your
everything.
details,
Everything.
samples of your work.
I make it to the final interview, yo. Like the third interview with the hiring people, and they're like, oh no, like we decided not to move forward. What do you mean you decided not to move forward?
What was the decision?
What's the issue?
Right.
Like, what qualifications did I not
Not
meet?
many. Exactly.
Right, and that's how I feel, and it blows me because I feel as if I've gotten to a point where I've just outgrown everything.
Yeah.
And-
Which would make Palestine a new member of the United Nations. Hello.
It's either downstairs. I think it might be downstairs in the basement. That's why the chairs are there. We gotta bring them up. Yeah, downstairs is up in the basement. But take your phone, because the light is at the bottom of the steps. So you're not gonna be able to see when you go down there. But I can help you on the next work. How's your day? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Oh, snap, you smelling good and whatnot.
Well, I'm trying to take a shower.
Look at that, look at that. Alright, we're about to come back on now. And we're back. You are now tuned into your global campfire, where we connect stories from around the world and from around the block. I am your host, LJM, and I have the esteemed honor of being joined in studio by my unofficial co-host, my sister from another mister, Samaria. What's going on, Sam?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, see, keep
Hi,
saying.
everyone.
Turn it up, turn it up.
I am up.
Are you up? Are you up? Keep talking. Ooh, now we can hear you.
Now you guys can hear me.
Oh.
Is that too loud?
No, that's perfect.
Perfect. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, how are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. Looking forward to ending this year off on a strong note here with my homegirl, LJM. Okay?
Yes, and you're talking into the mic this time. That's
Yes.
a beautiful thing. That's a
It is
beautiful
Well,
thing.
it's a beautiful evening out here. Happy Friday to all.
Yes.
Last Friday of the year.
Yes, it finally stopped raining. Thank
Yes.
God.
No raining on our parade.
No, not today, because Speakeasy is about to be lit.
Yes.
So, also to all my listeners out there in the world and to my Instagram tuner inners on live streaming tonight. That's right, the hottest open mic is happening tonight. Speakeasy, the place where we speak easy but go hard. At today, the last Friday of the year, go figure. And as we're about to enter 2019, it's also the third day of Kwanzaa. So, Sam, how has your 2019 been?
Well, 18.
Well,
19
it's
in
not.
here,
It's not.
yes.
Look, I'm already jumping ahead. I'm already jumping ahead.
2018 was fantastic. It was
Okay.
a year, a lot
Okay.
of ups and downs, a lot of reflection, a lot of learning, a lot of bridges that were walked upon, and a lot of bridges that were closed. Definitely a great experience. You know, I went to Egypt this October, so that was
Yes,
definitely
Egypt.
like a lifelong dream of mine, and I learned a lot, and I became a more grounded person and individual. And I feel like, you know, 2019 is going to be a year of many blessings, prosperity, and money.
Yes, yes. Speak on it.
Money, money, money,
Speak
green.
on it. Say
Okay.
that again. Prosperity.
Money.
Abundance.
Abundance.
Yes.
And love, of course. Don't
Yes,
forget
love. Yes, love.
Definitely love to family, friends, you know, acquaintances, strangers. I'm just trying to spread love and kindness to all, and hope that that is, you know, set forth back upon me and my doing so.
Okay. So for 2018, what is the most important lesson that you have learned?
2018, the most important lesson I ever learned was setting boundaries. Not only just for myself in my personal life, but in my professional as well. Not being scared to vocalize my voice, realizing my power, strength in numbers, and just being more aware of, you know, the relationships I have with people and how those relationships foster into, you know, business moves or, you know, friendships or whatever the case may be. So just a lot of reflecting on that and that end. That's kind of just been my, you know, strongest thing that I've learned in these 25 years of life.
Now, look at that. 25 years long. A quarter century.
Yes.
I remember when I was that age. Lord.
Yes.
I was not where you were, so you're blessed. You're blessed.
Yes, blessed and highly favored.
Yay! Look at that. But just to touch on what you were saying about really paying attention to the relationships that come into your life, right? That resonates personally with me because you don't know what seeds are being planted. 1. 2, life is just like chess. So when you pay attention to the people that come into your life and you pay attention to the role that they play, it's similar to the pieces on the chessboard, meaning how can you move them so that you can continue to plant those seeds so you can continue to feast. How can you finesse that? Because we're both entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We do not have a W-2 income.
No.
So as I was saying before, we go into that place of the rent is due and dreams are calling.
Yes.
Quite often.
Often.
And the resources might be a little low,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So you get there a lot. So it is really important in this game of entrepreneurship as well as life to truly pay attention to the people that come in your life, to pay attention to what roles they play. Like, are they toxic,
Right.
for example? Like, are they negative? Did you deal with any energy vampires this year?
Yes, there were energies that I had to foster and realize, some of those were not best for me, and it took some time. But we had this discussion previously on this station when I joined you. We were talking about connection, and it was just like realizing what's good for you and what's not. So because, like I said, become more aware and realizing, this is no longer good for me and healthy for me, and I gotta let it go. There is nothing more important in this life than my health and my energy, and if I'm not protecting that, then I'm ultimately doing myself a disservice and the people around me a disservice. So, yeah, there were people that I had to realize that had to get cut off, and unfortunately that's the case, but there's no bad blood. I'm sure they'll live a healthy and peaceful life, but I know where my place is, and my place is best to remove myself from that situation. So, yeah.
Yes. See, that's knowledge, and knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Now, you said that you went on a trip to Egypt, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I don't know if you heard about it, but there was reports from BBC News. There was a deadly blast that hit a tour bus near Giza pyramids
When was this?
in Egypt. It literally most likely happened today, or since they're a day ahead of us, it could either happen yesterday or today, right? And what they said is that a bomb was hidden besides a wall, and it went off as a bus carrying 14 Vietnamese tourists were passing. They said 2 people were critically wounded, as well as the bus driver was also critically wounded. So they're really looking into that.
That's actually shocking to me. When I went to my trip to Egypt, I was at the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, and we were there in October of this year, and they were definitely in the stages of finding new tombs. They were in the process of looking for the tombs, because everything is basically was digged and kind of placed at the bottom of all types of pyramids and things like that. So I had recently heard that they had found this tomb in that area where we were taking our tour on the day that we went to the Pyramid of Giza. And the reason why I'm a little bit questioned about this, because I was with one of those people on a tour bus traveling to see the tours and to go to the different sites. And to hear this is very drastic, because a lot of, Egypt, they get their, income and their, money from tourism. And this was one of the things that the Egyptologist was kind of stressing to us, that he was worried about, making sure that our safety was always first, because God forbid anything happened to us, it would be a big news feature to the American woman who, something happened. So it's very unfortunate that something happened to these people. And Egypt is definitely a tourist attraction place. A lot of people from all walks of life visit. And I can tell you now, I felt 100%, completely protected. I didn't fear for my life or anything like that. So I'm hoping that there's some more information that comes out about these attacks. But the Pyramid of Giza was definitely a beautiful sight, very historical. You can feel all the energy at these places, and it's unfortunate because the sites are open, and you don't know what could be there, because it's so old. There's dirt, there's rocks, it's all types of things over there. So you can never know exactly what may be by you and how that could affect you. But man, and they're actually getting ready to after 2020, there are no longer going to be people. They're no longer going to have tourist attractions on the sites of the Pyramid of Giza.
Really?
Because the oils and all of this stuff from our bodies and all the things that we bring is ultimately damaging the pyramids. Because pyramids are made of clay and stuff like that. So when I went there, I was able to touch and go see and physically step on to the Pyramid of Giza. But after 2020, they're no longer going to allow that, because they're going to be opening the big museum in 2020, and they're trying to preserve that.
To a quick break momentarily. After this musical break, we're about to listen to SZA, 20 Something, one of my favorite songs that inspires me till this day and really speaks to our truth. When we get back, we will make a firmer connection between Libya, South Africa, U.S., and Palestine, and how Ujima today really connects, and how everything that happens in different countries affects us here, and how we have to move out of individualism in America and really start focusing, getting a larger framework view and a more global context view. So make sure you stay tuned. This is LJM. We will be back in a moment.
Can you hear me? Am I muted?
Yeah.
Girl, are you serious?
Yeah, man, they bombed it. I love the fact that people call me when I'm on air. Like, people stay calling me when I'm on air. They stay hitting this line, or they stay hitting another line, as
Oh
if.
my god, that's so freaking crazy. That could have been me.
Yo,
No.
yeah, I text you. We need beer and ice. That's it. Yeah, beer, ice, and juice. A juice for mixers. I think we have cups. We should have
I have
cups.
a few out here.
We
but
should
we
have cups.
some more.
We might have cups. Okay, please grab cups because I don't want to play that game of not having anything. I know. You know, this is why I love you. This is why I love you. Oof, don't we all? All right, smooth. Thank you. Yeah, we don't start till 8, but you know, setup and stuff like that. So that's about it. Yeah. I love. Thank you. Right, peace. Yo, my tribe is awesome. They still call me when I'm on air, but my tribe is bomb.
So yes, girl, that's crazy.
That sounds
I
like a
didn't hear
setup,
that.
though. Sounds like a whole setup.
I'm so curious. Yeah, so the pyramids of Giza, they're gonna officially cut off people being able to see the site because of the oils in our skin. People coming with all different types of shit from all over the world, and that's damaging. Like it's damaging to the artifacts. And I'm just like, I mean, I would still touch this shit, but
that's crazy.
not a lot of shit because I'm just like, this is stuff from ancient BC, like not BC, but whatever it is, whatever. Yeah, I'm just like, okay. But yeah, because the way the setup was, you know, you're in a bunch of dirt. We had to walk to the destination, but the bus is kind of parked on the area.
Right.
And like I said, not once did I feel in danger just because of how strict security was with our tour group, thankfully. But anybody who goes to Egypt, I definitely would not recommend them go anywhere without, you know, guards of security. Like we had a whole Secret Service agent with us. Like,
What?
yeah, he had a pistol. When we went to I forgot which site we went to, but we were walking through the market. And like I said, it's like a Chinatown on 1,000. Like, people are just ambushing you, trying to get you to sell stuff with their babies, coming up to you like 3 or 4 or 5 times. I'm like, didn't I just see you and tell you La Chocran? No.
Right.
No.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. No, that's real, yo. Because that was the same thing. I remember I was in South Africa, and this lady was like following me. Like I walked into a store, I said I didn't have anything. I walked into the store, I made my purchase, and she followed me down the street talking about, man, please can you help me? Please can you help me? I'm like, yo, I don't have anything.
Right.
Like I need y'all to understand. Like I get it that I'm American, but I'm not that American. I'm not that American. Like I'm balling on a budget right now to be here.
Right. Why you take your hair down? It was bothering you?
Nah, when I put my kufi on, it ain't gonna work. So I had to go and do the right thing and take it down.
The door for you, mamas.
You got a bowl right there.
What bowl?
I mean, a thing. I'm not saying.
Why?
I'm tired.
You're tired
I'm in pain.
and you're in pain. Yeah, I can't.
So I'm not saying.
I
I want
can't.
you to blow.
Can I have my hug? Can I have my hug?
No, you're busy.
Give me my hug.
You're working. You're live.
Stop.
You're live.
Nita, I'm not gonna see you next year. I'm not gonna see you until next year.
You don't know that.
Girl,
Stay live.
you get on my nerves.
Next year is like 2 days.
It don't matter. Don't matter. I haven't seen her. At least you bought the punch bowl. Thank you, Nita. Even though she acting bougie, talking about you live. What they gotta do with anything? I have nothing to do with nothing. Alright. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about the boat carrying over 300 migrants rescued off Libya docks in Spain.
And where did they get captured in? They docked in Spain though.
Yeah, they did.
They docked this today, yeah. Dang, they had to spend Christmas on sea? I mean, do they even celebrate Christmas? I'm like, how you just assume they had to celebrate their Christmas on the sea?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I was reading the other day? it's kind of, the situation is definitely horrific. Don't get me wrong, but someone like I think I was talking with my sister, and she was just kind of like making a point like that. I kind of just wanted to ask and get opinion from people like. So yeah, we have these people who have to flee and ultimately have to flee with their families, right? Unfortunately, there may be some circumstances where some of these people who are fleeing, you know, ultimately die or something happens to them.
Yeah.
But it's like where is the middle ground for people who have no choice to flee and like ultimately having to deal with their situation, because you're putting your family and yourself at a risk, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's very
So
true.
it's like, you know, I think it was I was reading about the little girl in
I'm
Mexico.
about to go back on.
Okay. Hold on. Oh.
And we're back. I'm your host, LJM, joined in studio by my unofficial co-host, Samaria. And in this last 8 minutes of our hour, oh my God, this hour is going by just as fast as this year. We are going to jump into discussing migration, a natural human process that is taking place all over the world. Now, if you have paid attention to my last 3 shows, then you know that I was down in Mexico recently covering the migrant caravan and the Central America crisis, which consists of Honduras, Ecuador, Colombia, all of those places that are right there. Not Ecuador. I said that wrong. It's is it Ecuador?
No, I
or
don't think so.
It's not. It's not.
I'm not exactly
So
sure.
cross that off the map. But in Mexico in the south, like Guerrero, Mexico is where it is. But you have Honduras, you have El Salvador, you have Colombia. All of these countries comprise of Central America, right? And the fact that the U.S. has played a critical role in the destabilization of their countries, right? So the same thing is happening currently in Libya. There was a boat carrying over 300 migrants that was rescued off by Spain, right? After this vessel that was carrying 311 Liberians from Africa, they were African migrants. They were plucked off of the Liberia dock in Spain Friday, which was December 21st. And that was the ending of a very traumatic journey. And it was a relief to them because they had originally saw the fact that they were about to be spending Christmas in this boat. Can you imagine being at sea, surrounded by water, no bathrooms, right?
Yeah, that's not a cruise, people.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And and spending Christmas there. Now, granted, they just airlifted a mother who gave birth on the boat because they were being denied dock. Like Italy, Spain were denying them entry for so long. Even Europe. They were welcomed in by Provocatивia, Open Arms, who they operates the sea in between Libya and Southern Europe. They were coming to the aid of immigrants who get into difficult situations during the crossing from Northern Africa. So there's this little gap of water when you have to cross, and that's where they were. But the thing is, like, these people who are both children and adults have had really horrible experiences in both their countries of origin, and during their journey, says a spokesperson he was the director of intervention in Spain for the NGO Save the Children. It was Vincenten Raimundo. He said that some of the 311 were 139 children on board.
Oh my God. Of
Yes.
the 300?
139 children of the 311 migrants were children. And they come from countries that are at war, such as Somalia, Syria, Libya, which is facing a breakdown.
So all countries that have extreme poverty and are swallowed by you know, extreme poverty and oppressive governments. So okay,
all of that, right? But here's the crazy part: the fact is that they were being denied entry. They were trying to reach Italy or Malta since the beginning of the year. Like 1,300 migrants have actually perished trying to reach Italy or Malta since the beginning of the year, according to the International Organization for Migration. How do you deny people entry? how do you deny people the rights from finding a better life? That I don't think I don't know how to possibly process this right now, right? They're coming from war-torn countries. They're trying to escape poverty and gun violence and everything, but they're not being allowed. These countries are shutting their borders down and saying, no, we don't want you here. No, you can't get in. It's not okay for you to be here. This is absurd. And it's the same way that like it'll be the same. It's the same thing that we're currently experiencing at the U.S. border. Right? We're talking about allotting funds and going through a government shutdown because you want to build a wall versus allot resources such as stationing more judges to get there to process the asylum papers quicker. You want to shut down the government because you guaranteed a wall that doesn't even make sense in this moment. Not to mention the young girl or a young boy who just died. It was a young girl who died, and it was a young boy who died. And let's look that up real quick to see what was this young boy that died in the hands of Border Patrol, which just makes this more absurd in the reality because we're taking away it was an 8-year-old migrant child from Guatemala dies in U.S. custody. This happened 2 days ago. They said that it's the second death of a child in the detention at the southwest border in less than 3 weeks, raising questions about the ability of federal agents running crowded migrant border facilities to care for those who fall ill. So when they fall ill after this very, very long journey, they don't receive proper medical care. They say the boy passed away after midnight on Tuesday at a hospital in New Mexico, where he and his father had been taken after the Border Patrol agents saw what appeared to be signs of sickness, of course. His death follows that of the 7-year-old girl from the same country while also in the custody of Border Patrol. Now, with the 7-year-old girl, the father had been complaining, saying that his daughter was sick, and they ignored him. So not only did they ignore him, or they ignored signs, they just went.
Yeah, she had been sick upon the travels. She had been sick with the travels, and then when she finally got there, he had let them know, but nobody took the necessary steps to make sure, the resource. And that was another thing, like I was reading upon, like the resources at these locations aren't, there aren't enough resources, food, water, healthcare, providers. So it's just like, ultimately, we need to be more resourceful for the people that were, that need our help, that need help. And ultimately figure out ways to make sure that we're not having unnecessary deaths on our soil or in our facilities. It's just unfortunate to hear about children dying, and it makes you just be more appreciative of, the things that you have. But it's just like, what are we really going to be able to do about this crisis? What can we do as a nation
and as a people
to stop this crisis?
But once we see the comparisons of what's going on in the U.S. At the border down in Tijuana in the U.S., and once we see the connection in Libya where they are trying to flee, and as they said, it was over 56,000 migrants have started from this year trying to reach Italy or Malta and start on that. However, 739 have gone and they have passed away by trying to make this journey. So people are dying who are seeking safety because they're trying to run away from violence. They're trying to escape all of what brings when it comes to migration, which either they're moving because of economic conditions or because of environment conditions. And it's just sad when we get to the point of people who are trying to seek safety, they can't even seek safety because countries are shutting down their borders because it's not making them money. When are we going to get past this? When are we going to move away from this global capitalism, right? When are we going to get to a place where we start celebrating Ujima all the way through and focusing on the fact that our neighbors are our brothers and sisters. Our neighbors are the people in our community, and what affects them affects us all. I think that's what we really need to focus on. A quote real quick before we close out. A man is called selfish, not for pursuing his own good, but for neglecting his neighbors. That was said by Richard Waltley. So remember that. Our neighbors' issues are our issues as well. I believe, isn't that in the 10 Commandments? Honor thy neighbor. Honor thy neighbor. Well, right. One time for the one time. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything that you would want to say to close out the year of 2018 on this last Friday and the last Hijynx show of the year? What would you like to say?
I would like to say I wish everyone a happy and safe New Year. And I was looking for this quote someone just said to me, and I thought it was pretty dope, and I'm trying to share it. Hold on, people. I got a quote, too. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm looking for it. Oh, I can't find it. Never mind. But no, I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe, Happy New Year. May all your blessings and dreams come true. Love thy neighbor, love thyself, and just go get it. Get money. Hustle.
All good things, all good things. And for me, my thing is, don't be mad about things that you don't have. Don't get upset about things that have not come into fruition or plans that fall through, because something is better on the horizon. Once again, thank you for tuning in. You have been listening to Hijynx, your global campfire, where we connect stories from around the world and from around the block. I'm your host, LJM. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hijynx by LJM, so you can get a full visual of how the magic happens.